Butts.
Hello, and welcome to Laura's Gaming Butts, that video show on Destructoid where I talk about butts in video games because apparently people want to watch that. Today I'm here with a special guest. Introduce yourself.
It's Snake. I'm in front of the disposal facility.
Do you want to tell them who you actually are? That might help. I don't think you're Snake.
I could be. I'm Ewan. I'm an assistant editor over at Indie Haven.
Yeah, you're a writer at that other website I write at sometimes when I'm not busy with Destructoid. I should probably say who I am. If you don't know who I am from Destructoid already, I'm that person that writes news when the Americans are asleep and the English people are awake. So I sometimes write about news then, I guess. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about butts in video games again. And this is an episode I've been really excited to do because I think of all the video game series in the world, this is probably the one that has the most care and attention dedicated to its butt cheek models. Might not be an unfair thing to say. Ewan, do you want to tell people what we're talking about today?
Well, we're, in case you haven't already guessed, we're talking about Metal Gear Solid.
It's a joke because Metal Gear has butts in it.
It has a lot of butts.
Yeah, it does. Where do we even want to start? Do we start with the obvious one? Do we start with Snake or do we start somewhere else?
I think we've got to talk about Snake first, because he's the overarching butt that brings the whole series together.
Yes, Snake's butt is fascinating because as soon as they had the technology to be able to have any kind of detail in character models, this series was like, right, Snake has to have two distinct butt cheeks, and they have to be rock solid and tight and defined. And it's been a staple of the series ever since. His butt is... I am kind of amazed.
It's even when he suffers from premature aging, they find a reason for him to have the tightest, most defined butt possible, which is he gets a special suit, which tightens and makes that butt look just as good as when he was 20.
Oh god, goodness, yeah. It's even as he ages, that butt will never age. That butt is going to forever be it boggles describing. It is small, compact, muscular, defined, curved. It is just perfect. I can't find flaws in that butt.
Well, he is the perfect soldier.
Yes, and what use is the perfect soldier without the perfect backside, obviously? This seems to be an overarching theme for the Metal Gear series, is that the straps on their armour seem designed to accentuate the buttocks. If you take Snake, for example, in the majority of his appearances, he has a nice leather waist belt around his hips, around his waist, and then from there it kind of comes off and the leather straps go from his waist between his legs. So it just kind of pulls the butt in tight and just frames it with these leather straps where it's yep, this is a butt. We're going to tighten it up as much as possible with these leather straps. I don't know what purpose that serves other than tightening his arse.
I'm sure Hideo Kojima has probably got a lot of research he can show us that this is the perfectly designed battle suit for somebody to wear, that it increases running speed by at least 12% or something if we just slightly push them apart a little bit and make sure they're all nice and tight and very visible. It's very important they're visible.
Yes,
that helps with combat.
It's very important also that the fabric doesn't just gloss across the separated cheeks. No, it has to wrap around and go right into the crevice. Unless you're getting a wedgie off of your super suit, it's not helping you in combat because, here's my guess, and I might be totally wrong here, but I suspect that an amount of discomfort on Snake's part is part of the design, where it's if he's permanently a little bit uncomfortable, he's never going to slouch and relax, and that means he's always going to be alert and at his top performance.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's you don't want him to be in the middle of a firefight, trying desperately not to, readjust himself down there, because that can be so. I mean, imagine if you in a job interview and you get an itch down there. It is the most distracting thing possible.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. It's like, initially that might have been a problem, but get 3 or 4 games into this series and, like, he's got to be used to it by now. It's like, oh, it's just an occupational hazard. It's a thing I've got to deal with. It's one of the downsides to my job. You know, there's being shot at, but there's also the fact that I'm permanently a little bit uncomfortable because there's fabric up my arse. And, you know, I think that's the thing, that you get used to it and you're like, you know what, okay, I'm never going to be able to quite relax. And that's probably good, because that means that I'm always going to be alert. Because I'm always going to be like, ooh, what's going on? Other than my arse. What other than my arse is happening right now? Like, what can I pay attention to? What can I investigate to stop thinking about my own arse and how uncomfortable it is?
And here's genius. He's thinking that. He's not, like, his arse isn't distracting him anymore, but everybody else on the battlefield. I mean, the first thing they're gonna... Wow! Look at that guy! I know I should be stopping him and or shooting at him, but...
Well,
wow.
It's like, I can't risk shooting at that man who's running away from me, because what if I accidentally hit that perfect arse? Like, that arse should be in a museum. I can't risk the world being deprived of that arse.
The Indiana Jones crossover with Metal Gear. That arse belongs in a museum.
Oh god, yeah, it's the thing that, like, I've looked at countless images. I think my favourite place, like, if you're trying to find good reference images for his arse, if you really want to get a good look at his arse, like, at your own leisure, the Wii version of Super Smash Bros., if you pause, you can go into your little photo viewer and you can just zoom in and rotate round, and you can get such a good look at his arse. It's just, like, here's the thing, I'm looking at his arse right now. I'm looking at one of the many pictures. Like, there is a Y shape. Like, I can see a Y shape built into, like, the curves of his arse. Like,
it's a shame that him and I mean, can you get him and Captain Falcon on the same screen together?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so that would be... I mean, I could see the universe destroying itself if those two ever got too close.
I will try at some point to get an image to put into this podcast so we can do it, but just look at that link I've sent you. Like, his arse is asking why. It's like, why? Why am I this defined? Why am I this defined? What purpose do I serve? Why? Why?
It looks like he's got, like, a thong on underneath. And for some reason it's showing through.
He might have a black thong on, actually. That would explain the shape. Like, maybe that is not actually defined curve of the top of the arse. Maybe it is just a thong.
It is. There is a male character wearing a thong in Metal Gear canon, so...
Well, here's the thing. I'm looking at that image I just sent you. Like, looking at him from behind, like, everything seems purpose-built to define that arse. Like, he's almost wearing a corset to, like, suck in his stomach. Yeah, he's wearing a corset to suck in his stomach. You've got the leather straps that come across and, like, pull his arse cheeks together. And then at the very bottom of his arse cheeks, you've got leather straps again, which just sort of tighten it all in, squeeze it all, and push it all into that central section. Like, everything about that design is... This, like, it serves no purpose other than to bring his waist in and make his butt as squished together and defined as possible.
He's like a 19th century debutante, you know. He's just gone out in society for the first time, and he's using all of his assets to find himself, like, a husband.
Oh, God, and trust me, he's going to have no trouble going out like that. Like, someone is going to see that ass and be like, yeah, I could use that in my life. Like, forget his personality, I could use that ass in my life. Like, just look at it. That, like, you could get a good firm grip on that. It's not too muscular. It's like there's enough flab to grab onto. That's just such an appealing ass.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm sorry that I've dragged you into what is easily the most intellectual part of my career right now.
Well, somebody needs to talk about this.
This is an under-discussed part of this industry that, my god, that arse is legendary. Like, you could grate cheese on that arse. I'm pretty sure you could open, like, a bottle of beer with, like, those metal tops. You could open a bottle top with that arse.
Oh god, yes. Definitely.
What else can we do with this arse? There's got to be something we can do with it.
Well, he's an all utility arse. You know? He could probably reload a gun with his arse.
I'm just imagining, like, he looks like he's got a lot of control of that arse. I'm like, you know the party trick where it's always like, oh, I'm so impressed she can tie a cherry stem with her tongue. I think he could tie a cherry stem with his arse.
Oh God, yeah.
Just
I could see that happening.
like, why does he even bother using his hands? Like, why doesn't he just climb walls using his arse? It's probably more muscular. He'd get up walls faster.
I can imagine that was probably planned for Metal Gear Solid 1, but, you know, technical... they just didn't have a technology back then.
You see that slight gap between the cheeks? I've just thought of, like, the one perfect use of that. Storing an extra gun.
Of course. I mean, he has so many... He collects so many guns.
Yeah, it's just perch it between the cheeks.
Oh, God.
So should we should we talk about some of the other asses before we get too far into Snake's ass? Whose ass should we talk about next?
I'm thinking we go vaguely in chronological order and go on to Meryl next.
Oh yes. Now see, Meryl's a good place to go next because I think Meryl is the only person in the Metal Gear series whose ass Snake has actually acknowledged. What is it he says to her? It's like, oh yeah, it's something about her being memorable, and he's like, oh yeah, it was your ass.
Yeah,
or it was your butt.
Have you? How much of Metal Gear Solid have you played?
I've played a lot of it. I don't understand much of it. It's a very complicated series, but I have a vague awareness of what's going on in the Metal Gear series.
Because I think we should tell Meryl's story going up to that cutscene.
Okay, I'll leave this to you because I will probably make mistakes.
It's alright. I've just been researching this for the past 2 hours.
This is why I love this series. It gets serious journalists to research asses for a few bits of their day.
Hey, it's a Saturday, you know? I'd probably be doing this anyway. But,
so yeah, tell me the story of Meryl that leads up to her ass.
Gather round, ye townsfolk.
Oh.
I shall tell you the saga of Meryl's arse. Anyway, Snake is sneaking into the prison cells in Shadow Moses, where he's trying to talk to the Darker Chief, I believe. And first of all, there's a little Easter egg where if you go into the vents, you can see her through vents doing exercises in her prison cell. If you do that 3 times, she starts exercising in her underwear.
Ah.
So that's the first. That's the first time. It's a little one. And then, well, long story short, Meryl manages to break out of prison, and then you fight some evil soldiers with her, and then she runs away from you, and as she's running away, you get a close-up of her arse in slow motion.
Yeah,
because it's actually a plot. No, it's not just fan service. It's a plot point.
It's a plot point. Kojima is the greatest creative mind this industry knows, because of course that's a plot point.
Yeah. So Snake's obviously think, wow, what an arse. Flash forward several bits later in the game, and you're trying to find Meryl, and you know she's disguised as a soldier in this area.
Yeah.
But but she's disguised, so you don't know who she is. The game encourages you to find out which soldier she is by looking at all their arses.
Oh, yes. Because I just love Kojima. Kojima's a mad genius. Because, of course, that would be a plot point. It's, you remember that arse? You remember that arse that was really nice? Yeah, have a look at a load of arses, see if you can find the nice one again. And hopefully you get the right one, because otherwise you might get a shot.
It's like a really bad police lineup, except instead of facing you, they're facing away. And Snake's like,
It's like, no, I remember a little bit more tautness.
Can number 3 maybe sway a little?
Oh god, it's like, just like kind of poke it from the below. It's like, no, that doesn't jiggle right. It's like, nah, I'm sure there was more hip to curve. It's just, no, that's not it. That's not. Ah, there it is. There's the arse. I remember.
So you find which soldier is Meryl. Then you reveal yourself to her.
No, hey.
Phrasing. I know.
Yeah.
You stand in front of her and say, and then she realizes you and runs to the bathroom. Now, normally this cutscene is that if you don't go after her immediately, she's wearing clothes, tank top, and her trousers. However, if you run straight after into a bathroom, in the next cutscene, she hasn't fully dressed yet and is wearing her panties.
Yep. And she asks how you realised it was her, and as a very, honest gentleman that Snake is, he's like, you had a nice butt.
Yeah.
I remembered your butt, so, there we go. And then she gets changed. Just completely oblivious to the fact he's in there. Obviously, she's like, well, he's seen my butt, I know that much. There's no reason for me to hide it at this point, I might as well finish getting changed.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's flirting with her, she's kind of flirting back, she's talking about her life story and all that. They're already pretty intimate by this point.
Here's the thing, the first Metal Gear Solid, she doesn't have much of an arse to write home about, at least as far as we can see in the game. Like, just because of character models, there's nothing to write home about there. Like, I struggle, I watched that scene and I'm like, I struggle to see what was so memorable about that arse that Snake was able to pick it out from a lineup. I don't quite know how he managed that. Like, maybe like 3 or 4 I can see it, but the first Metal Gear Solid, how is he picking someone out of a lineup based on their arse?
You see, that's the thing with Meryl, though. It's a movement. It isn't necessarily the straight up appearance. It's a way she sways her hips. I think that's what he's seeing. The other male soldiers don't kind of do that hip swaying thing.
So, if I want to like accurately disguise myself as a soldier, I need to make sure that my butt stays perfectly still while I walk, and I can't let it sway at all, because then they'll know that I'm not a real soldier. Because soldiers don't sway their ass. Doesn't happen. Ugh. How dare a soldier sway their ass? It's distracting to the other men. Ugh.
Well, yeah, it's like they run a tight ship at Shadow Moses.
Yep, very tight.
There
are straps in place to make sure that it's a tight ship.
Everybody has to have a perfectly still, tight arse. And then Meryl comes in, arse waving all over the damn place.
Exactly.
And people are like, this isn't discipline. What's this?
How did she not get discovered by the other soldiers? It's like, wait a second, we don't recognise that arse.
Well, to be fair, the other soldiers in Metal Gear Solid 1 can only see like 10 feet in front of them.
Yeah, true, but at some point, one of them's got to come within 10 feet of her arse, I would imagine.
They just get the exclamation mark, huh?
She turns back round so they can't see the arse. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. That arse is gone now, I can relax.
Yeah.
Oh.
That is the thing. I'm going to bring it up. I don't know if you can do it in Metal Gear Solid 1, but certainly in the later Metal Gears, you can distract soldiers using porno mags.
Well, in the new one, in 5, you can attach a porn magazine to the outside of a cardboard box and just stand in front of them, and they don't notice that it's a cardboard box with a person inside it with a pornography magazine on the front. They're just like, oh, I forgot how to soldier. There's a pretty girl with a butt.
Butts are really important.
Butts are really distracting. They are incredibly distracting.
So, I know I should be doing something right now, but... Oh, God.
Oh, goodness. Do we have anything else to say about Meryl's arse, or is it time to move on to the next arse?
I think there's somebody... Next person I've got is tangentially related to Meryl's arse.
Okay, we'll move on then. Who do you want to talk about next?
Johnny Sasaki.
Okay, so let's talk about Johnny Sasaki. Tell me about his arse.
Okay.
Tell me about his buttocks.
He's not... This isn't necessarily about how nice his arse is, but his arse is actually again, a plot point, and a very important one. So I should tell... When you break into the prison to rescue Meryl, her prison guard is a soldier who is only named in the credits, and he's named as Johnny Sasaki. And he's the one where I think it's actually... I don't know if it's canon, but it's heavily implied anyway that he has irritable bowel syndrome.
Okay.
And he suffers a lot of attacks of diarrhea.
And I see now how this could be used as a plot point. Okay.
So Metal Gear Solid 1, when Snake's talking to the DARPA chief, Meryl bangs on her cell door, and then Johnny goes in to see what's up, and then she knocks him out, strips him naked. Incidentally, only in the Western version he strips her naked. In the Japanese version, he keeps his boxers on. But in the West, for some reason, he goes completely naked. Everything is downstairs is blurred, but he's naked.
Yeah, I'm looking at the boxer picture now, and I'm like, well, that's probably enough. She didn't need to take his underwear.
Well, apparently, it's like when she left Japan, she felt the need.
Yeah, the Western world just won't understand that she's really humiliated him until she takes his underwear.
And so it kind of becomes a running gag throughout the series that there's a lot of Easter eggs where you can find him on the toilet complaining about his stomach.
Okay.
And until you get to Metal Gear Solid 4, where he becomes an important character.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is Hideo Kojima logic.
Yeah, it is.
There's everybody in this world, all the soldiers in Metal Gear Solid 4 have nanomachines in them that's suppressing their emotions and making them perfect soldiers and all that. Now, this also leads them, they can be, like, controlled by other people. And like psychics and things like that.
Yeah.
Johnny Sasaki, however, says later on he has a fear of needles and hasn't gotten any of the shots to give him nanomachines, which is why he's suffering constant stomach problems. This means that on every soldier, including Snake, is being affected by this mass psychic or AI thing controlling their bodies and making them go insane. Johnny Sasaki is the only one who is immune, and he saves Snake and he saves Meryl.
Because he's afraid of needles and has IBS.
Yes.
Of course, that's a fucking plot point. Here's the thing, like, the less said about his actual ass, the better, because, like, in the politest way possible, as he has IBS, I imagine that, like, the less time I spend around his ass, the better.
Yeah,
in the politest way possible. No problem if you have IBS, but I'm not going to be sticking my face anywhere near your ass anytime soon.
I know. I just thought it was important.
It is important. It's an important ass, and it's an important fact that's going to keep me away from his ass.
Hey, look, when everybody else is being controlled by Psycho Mantis and is killing each other, he's the one who's gonna, like, save you.
Yes, his is the ass that's gonna save the day. Like, I have to give his ass credit, like, hey, yours is the only ass that wasn't being controlled by mind control nanomachines, so, you know, thank you for saving my ass with your ass.
His is not the arse we deserve, but it is the arse we need.
Couldn't have put it better myself. Oh, yes. Anyway, where do we go from there?
Well, I think we've done Metal Gear Solid 1, so let's go into Metal Gear Solid 2 and Raiden.
Oh, yes, Raiden. Raiden is in the same category as Snake, where he has an impossibly toned ass. Like, I don't think humanity has the technology to give anyone an ass that good yet.
Oh no, he somehow manages to wear an even tighter suit than Snake.
Yes, and that is a terrifying prospect. Like, his suit's almost, like, slightly mechanical, and I think that, like, there is probably some kind of gear somewhere on that mechanical suit that is pulling the fabric tighter. That's like it's physically stretching it to get it tighter.
Yeah, and he was kind of deliberately designed to be very androgynous, which again is a plot point in Metal Gear, because I showed you that video before.
Yes, the video where he's mistaken by the president for a girl.
Yep. And then he grabs... A president grabs Raiden's crotch because the president is, I guess, Bill Clinton-y and wanted one last, fun time. But then he's like, "You're a man?"
Well, I'm kind of fascinated he went for the genitals. That's not usually when you go when you're trying to sexually harass someone. You're like, I am going to cup your genitals. Yeah. Like, that's not where I would have assumed the president would go, but no, that's where he went.
And then it's like, Raiden is... It's probably one of the reasons why he was kind of rejected in the West. And that's because he's supposed to be androgynous. And there were probably a lot of young gamers, myself included, who were fascinated by him, and some of them may have reacted negatively to that, but the feelings were there.
Well, here's the thing. There's a little image that I've just sent over to you in the chat, which is Naked Raiden.
Oh, Naked Raiden.
Yeah, Naked Raiden.
Yes.
And, you get a nice shot from behind, and you can... This is one of the rare examples where there's an official, in-canon, naked set of buttocks that we can look at, and my first instinct, that's a very feminine backside.
Oh yeah.
Like, I am not a man lover, but that's a really nice ass. I like that. He has a really nice ass. Plus, also, here's the thing. His ass is not naturally tight and squished up and taut. I think that confirms the theory I have that it is the suit and the straps on the suit that do it. Because that's a very human ass. That's like, it's nice. There's a good handful of stuff there. It's like you can really get a hold onto that. It's not scrawny. It's a very nice ass. But it's not until he's wearing that suit that suddenly it's like the toned super ass.
Oh yeah, it's again, it's like when he's naked. It's kind of like he's vulnerable. He doesn't have his super arse-defining suit, so he's just human now, and that's obviously what we're meant to feel. We're meant to go, wow, he's got a really nice arse, but it isn't super soldier material.
Well, it's like he's very relatable, very attainable. It's like, hey, I have a very average arse like that. They're like, I have a nice but not impossibly nice arse. Maybe I could be a super soldier too if I had the suit. Like, it allows you to connect with him on a very human level.
Oh yeah, everybody's just kind of like... It's again, I think a lot of people had very strange feelings when they first saw Raiden like this for the first time. And I know I spent a lot of time, trying to see everything, and you could doing cartwheels and pressing up against objects and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, it is apparently true that he does not actually have a penis.
Well, here's the thing:
that they never actually
if they modelled a penis and it was an attainable sight, that would distract people from the beautiful ass that's right there for the looking at. This is the thing. It's like we are spoiled. This is such a rarity to have that much of an arse on show. I think had they had a penis in there too, that would have been too much. I don't think we were ready for that. I think that an uncovered, very nice arse is about all that the gaming community was ready for at that stage. We might have thought we were ready for more, but we weren't.
I can imagine Hideo Kojima being like, and Metal Gear Solid 2 is just absolutely completely out there in terms of its plot and everything else. But I can imagine Hideo Kojima thinking about this and going, now, I've got just about everything in this game, but I just can't put a penis in there. It would just...
That's like that...
It would just be too distracting.
That is just too much. For all the things that I do in games, that's the line I'm not ready to cross yet. I don't think that... I think that the gaming community is ready for cardboard boxes with pornography on them, but I don't think it's ready for a penis.
One day.
One day, maybe.
One day.
No, here's the thing. If Kojima was going to put a penis in a game, he would go all out and there would be a room that was just covered in them. I don't think he could hold himself back to just put one in. Like, I think it shows a lot of restraint that this is the only arse we see uncovered. I would have imagined it's like, oh, you've gone into a room and it's not Psychomantis, Psycho-Arcist. Psychomantas? Psychomantas. You would see just... And you'd walk into a room and you'd be like, I'm going to use my psychic powers to make you see a room full of arses.
The horror!
The horror! Like, the fact there's only one arse is a minor miracle, and I think that he would not be able to restrain himself that much if he put penises in.
Well, it's a special arse. It's at a very important... very, very memorable point in the game that just artistically called for Raiden's bare arse.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, it's human, it's attainable, and it means that it's all the more special when you get to see it in its squashed together toned glory. It's like, I saw that arse in its humble beginnings, and now I know where it's ascended to. Maybe my arse can one day reach those dizzying heights.
It's an inspirational story for us all.
Oh goodness! And I think we've got one more person left to talk about before we start wrapping up. Who have we got left?
That's Raikov's Russian doppelganger, Raiden's Russian doppelganger, I should say, Major Raikov, who is the only part of the only canonical gay couple in Metal Gear Solid, I believe. There's a bi couple as well, and there's lots of hints that Revolver Ocelot loved Big Boss, but there's no evidence they ever got together. But Raikov and Colonel Volgin, they got together quite a lot, and Raikov is... he's the one I was talking about earlier. You can actually see his arse in a thong.
Not that there's anything at all wrong with that.
I'm not saying there's...
it's just,
no.
It's just a fact.
I'm saying that as a good thing.
Yeah. It's... I'm looking at images now. I'm just like, yeah, that's his arse in a thong. I can see that.
And you can pick him up and drag him around and do lots of things with him, and then you put a face mask on to disguise yourself as him, and then you get found out when Colonel Volgin grabs your crotch.
Yeah, I'm looking at the image now. Yep, he grabs your crotch.
And you don't react right, and then Volgin realizes you're an imposter.
Yes, because it's like, wait a second, you're not reacting the way that he normally reacts when I touch his penis.
Yeah, and it's just he was intended as a parody of Raiden, apparently.
I don't know much what else I can add to that. That's is interesting.
Well, I've got a couple of other things here. There's of course the meme that everybody's gay for Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Everyone is gay for Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 3. That's a fact.
Because as good as Snake ever could be, he is only an imperfect clone of Big Boss, who has the original, the best ever possible arse.
Yeah, it's very difficult to imagine a better arse than Solid Snake has, but... Big Boss. Yeah, that's an arse. That is an arse.
And that's why Ocelot fell in love with him.
Yeah, because who can say no to that arse? I know I couldn't. I don't like guys, but I couldn't say no to that arse. I'd be like, ugh, I'm really sorry, I'm going to break up with my girlfriend. I will get it done straight away. Me and your ass can be together forever. I promise.
No, Laura, I think you're taking things too far here. You don't need to break up with your girlfriend. Show her Big Boss's arse.
We'll be in a polyamorous relationship with his arse.
Yeah. I mean, never mind the rest of him, just his arse.
Yeah, we're never actually going to have a conversation with him. We're just going to, we're going to sit down for dinner and be like, wait, get your face away from the table, turn round, stick your ass up on the table, that's what we want to be. We want to eat dinner with your ass.
It's like the wedding photos is you and your girlfriend, all in your dresses full up, and then just Big Boss, turned around, bare arse. Face blacked out by a black box, because you don't even want to see that. It's just the arse.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And goodness, this feels like a good place to start wrapping up for today. Thank you so much for joining me, Ewan. If people like your words, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me at Indie Haven, where I do stuff.
Hooray! You do stuff, you write work.
Normally this.
Not usually about arses, usually about indie games. Oh, goodness. Yes. And if you like my stuff, you can read news from me in the mornings, in the UK mornings, on Destructoid.com, and you can find me on Twitter at Laura K. Buzz. So, thank you very much, and we'll be back with more arses for you again soon. Bye!
Thanks. Bye. Yes, sir. Yes, we discussed all the bots in the Metal Gear Solid series. Yes, sir, I can have the data uploaded to you immediately. Yes, sir. No, sir. She didn't uncover my identity. Yes. Yes, you do have a very nice bot, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.